We have to think about markets, but we have to think about targets.
When you think about targeting, I think the first level for me would be decision makers, and then geography. I don't think you can divorce the two, but I think there's a very clear priority that at first pass you're targeting the specific communities, because it's a very, very mobile world, and so to some extent geography has to take second place.
Well, the big growing areas in Asia now, it seems to me, are first of all in the education and health area. Education, because it's now a growing realization that unless you invest in innovation, particularly higher education as well as the whole architecture of innovation, just focusing on primary and secondary education will simply mean that it will be stuck in the low-level manufacturing. So I think there's a tremendous hunger to upgrade educational systems and health systems and so on, and clearly that's an area of performance and the kind of industry that they would like to borrow from outside. I think another area which is a growing area, of course, as I said, is within specific industries, where you're looking at design or looking at marketing, technology, as well as issues of positioning and brand building, etc. So I think there, again the game has changed a bit, that we are no longer just talking about a particular sector like a clothing sector or like a shipbuilding sector. We are also talking about a whole series of skills which themselves form sectors. Take creative industry, for example. Take IT. IT is not just somebody sitting in front of a computer. It's an enormous, interlinked set of activities. So I think we are also getting a shift in how value is actually generated, and in that I think in terms of partners, clearly there's some obvious partners, like Singapore, for example, but there are also emerging partners. These will be the second-tier cities in Indonesia, which are growing very, very fast. And in fact, some of the cities which are no longer second-tier cities, but they keep on being, like Hyderabad, like Bangalore, which are centers of design, they're centers of innovation. And I think those are the kinds of areas. So you have actually quite a large choice, and as well as many of the Chinese cities.
So I think if you look at the young people in the world today, whether it is in India, where I am right now, or China, or even frankly the US or the UK, one of the common things that is becoming very clear is there are not enough jobs for young people, and that definitely the academic setup, the old system of going to college to get a degree isn't enough anymore. And what I think is interesting about the Scandinavian imagery and the Scandinavian system is, maybe it's not even true, but the impression that I think you get is the Scandinavian educational system is a lot more practical, it's a lot more skill-oriented, and that it can set you up for different professions. And I think that's a big attraction. I think that's a big message. And I think the whole, do something different, take the road less traveled, is an interesting message to pitch to young people today, because the tried and tested road isn't working.
We think about market targets, but I will think about segments, because I think the promise can be for anyone. If anyone wants to progress in his career, if a company wants to really improve the possibilities of growth or innovate, and if they find the right place where they can have this innovative ecosystem plus this lifestyle, livable city, no matter where they are, they can be attracted to a certain place.
I think the idea of progress reflects the brand promise of do something different. I think the idea of innovation I think the idea of research-based education, I think the idea of energy, new energy sources, building on that, all of those have a universal appeal. You know, the world over, we all know that energy is one of those areas. So I think that's all of that can be packaged into stronger individual propositions for young people.
Well, I think the idea of Danish for progress and the idea of something that happens, you know, in our house, these are, of course, strong ideas. That they're easy to communicate, they're clear, but I think that they have to be explained. For example, it's very clear in the brand platform, as I've read it and interpreted it, that there's something in the atmosphere in Aarhus that enables people to cooperate with each other, enables them to do things quickly and differently, to readily form working teams, to solve problems, to apply collective ingenuity, not just individual genius. And there's something about Aarhus that makes that possible. But of course, what needs to be said very clearly is that this network, this climate, this atmosphere that exists in Aarhus is also open to participation by the rest of the world. That it's not just people who are from Aarhus, but it's people who come to Aarhus or people who experience the Aarhus opportunity outside of Denmark that are able to participate in this. So it's somehow about a way of doing things. It's a strong idea, but I think we have to be very clear that that way of doing things can be both exported and can be opened up to people who come to the city.
I think I'm from Barcelona.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think Aarhus can be similar in the sense that it's not the capital of Denmark, but it's a progressive city. It's an innovative city. Barcelona it is an innovative city. So I think there's a good opportunity for Aarhus to be positioned as a progressive, innovative, creative city, creative ecosystem for people to come and join and develop their career. So I think, for me, Aarhus, Danish for Progress, it's a fantastic proposition that can be very attractive to anyone that have this type of interest in their life. No?